right, Caden and I just got off the court and we just got done testing 2 versions of the Power Air, the Epic Power Air Vanguard and then the Invicta Power Air Vanguard. And yeah, we're gonna give you our thoughts now. Currently, I use the Halo Control Max series, and Caden, you actually switched to this paddle pretty recently. Actually,
this one, I actually switched to the Epic.
Yeah, the Epic. So yeah, initial thoughts for you, Caden. Why did you make that switch personally?
Yeah, I personally like to play a fast-paced game. So switching to the Power Air, I noticed that you just immediately get more pop, you get a lot of spin, and for as thin of a paddle as it is, believe it or not, you actually get a lot of feel on it too. So the edge guard list paddle here is gonna feel you're gonna feel a little bit more vibration when you do hit. But I will say, when you do kind of get that vibration, it does kind of soften up that ball for me, and it allows me to kind of, you know, relax my hand and just say, okay, I'm gonna let the paddle do the work. So when you have a poppy paddle, you don't actually need to swing that hard or grip that tight, but you can still swing a little bit faster and get the velocity that you want. So when I switched to this paddle, I got the pop that I wanted, and I really didn't lose much with feel. So I thought, okay, this is a no-brainer.
Yeah, so the pros for me for this Power Air, obviously this is definitely a power paddle. If you're a player that like wants more power, needs more power, this is probably for you. It has a lot of pop, a lot of spin, and you can get a lot of acceleration. We got the little smiley face that Selkirk has made to reduce wind drag a little bit, and then again, the thinness of the paddle, you could just maneuver it really well. So maneuverability around the non-volley zone and volleys, I think this is where it shines. And also for top spin, kind of anything top spin shots or rolling shots and counters. Counters are really good.
No, for sure.
Yeah, so now let's talk about the difference between the Invicta and the Epic. So actually, Caden, that's the one that you use, the Epic and the Invicta. And the differences between this is the Invicta is going to be definitely a little bit longer. You can see that there, and then a little bit more narrow. So the Epic is going to give you, I think, a little bit more, when we talk about sweet spot, you have to be a little bit more precise with the Invicta. But because of that sweet spot, I think being further on the Invicta, I noticed on serves, drives, anything like power shots that you're hitting, you can generate a little bit more velocity.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I actually really liked the Invicta when I was serving, when I was driving, when I was dropping, even when I was just at the kitchen line reaching in and trying to get couple more dinks in the air. The speed ups felt really good on the Invicta. I actually told Jordan while we were hitting this, I said, I'm gonna hold 2 of these in different shapes, and when I need to hit specific shots, I'll switch to different paddles, which obviously isn't allowed. But that just shows you the pros and cons of each paddle. Now, I will say the Invicta is a little bit longer of a face, so like Jordan said, there is going to be a little bit more mishit at the bottom of the paddle. So for me, when I switched to the Epic, the reason why I liked it so much, especially for doubles, is just you don't get a whole lot of mishit. It is a little bit smaller of a face. When you do find yourself mishitting on this paddle, it's really not even that bad of a mishit. And of course, like Jordan said, that smiley face, that gives you a little bit, a little bit faster hands, just because you get a little bit more wind resistant. It's so balanced. I love it.
Yeah, so we did, again, with these, we did add a weight to them as well. I think that does help. Usually on any paddles, I would suggest adding at least a little bit of weight. We'll try it before, then try it after. We added probably, half to a full ounce.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I think I added a full ounce.
Yeah, but again, the difference between these, they're really power paddles and spin paddles at the end of the day. Personally, for me too, I definitely go with the Epic. I really used to like the long handle and things like that. So if you have a 2-hand, I would maybe recommend, or you hit 2-hand shots, this Invicta. But the Epic is really nice too. If you can adjust your grip and hang that pinky or a couple fingers on the bottom, you could also still get your 2 hands around the Epic. It's just a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, I would say this might not be your singles paddle, but it's also not something you can't use for singles. I personally use it for singles. I do lose a little bit in terms of reach, which does hurt me every now and then, but like I said, great paddle all around for doubles, singles. Just a very well balanced paddle. It'll feel great for your counters because the paddle is so close to you. And so if you guys are deciding between the Invicta shape or the Epic shape, figure out, you know, maybe what your strengths are in pickleball, right? If you like to kind of play at that kitchen line and counter and really have fast hands, then the Epic might be your guy. Whereas if you like a little bit more spin, a little bit more roll, a little bit more reach, then that Invicta might be your guy.
Yeah, and then just to recap, who is this paddle for? I honestly wouldn't recommend this for beginner players at all. It's definitely, when you compare it to carbon paddles on the market, like carbon surfaces, like the Halo that I love and use, it's definitely going to be less forgiving compared to carbon paddles, just because of the thinness and also the material that this is made with. But if you have good accuracy and you can control and you like to spin, you like to slice or top spin or hit a lot of power shots, I think this Power Air is one of the best out there when it comes to power and spin.
Oh, for sure. Well, I always tell people that, you know, if you have a hard time controlling the game and controlling the ball, then the last thing you want is a poppy paddle. So in terms of the Power Air, it's not something that I would necessarily recommend to, you know, people who are just kind of coming into the game, but you know, maybe someone who is looking for a little bit more power. So if you lack power and you say, okay, I just need something that has more pop, then sure, I would say, okay, go for it. But if you are just someone starting out and you do find that you have good power by when you're hitting the ball, then maybe I wouldn't recommend this quite yet, just because, you know, it's thin, it's not as forgiving as you know, the Max that you use. And even at the highest level, you need to have some sort of control when you are playing. And so, believe it or not, like Jordan said, I actually used the Halo originally as well, but I switched to this paddle. And when I switched, the biggest thing I was nervous about was the control. Right. Obviously, I was able to kind of make some adjustments and kind of learn with it and grow with it. And once I did that, believe it or not, this paddle still does have very good feel. Obviously, not as much as the Max or the XL in terms of the Halo, but a lot of pop, a little bit less control, but that doesn't mean there's no control. You just have to kind of figure it out.
Yeah, so it's definitely a give and take. Again, if you'd like to purchase one of these, go ahead and check out the link in the description below. We're going to be bringing you more paddle reviews. So comment below what you like, what you didn't like, and we'll see you in the next video.